everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for being here. I am honored once again with one of my favorite YouTubers. I got Icy Mike here. Mike, thanks so much for being here, man. How's your day going so far?
Not good, man. I got stuck in traffic. Earlier. I saw a beaver had been run over and by a car, and my 6-year-old asks, "Oh, is he gonna be okay?" So I had to deal with that, which is that sounds like a small thing. Oh, you just tell her. Nah, it's not that simple.
No, man, you gotta let her watch the episode of Sesame Street about death. Whenever Mr. Hooper passed away, they actually addressed it. The actor died, and they had to explain to Big Bird. It's on YouTube. They had to explain to Big Bird in a child-friendly way that we're just not gonna see him anymore, and we're gonna be sad about it for a while.
Wow. Yeah. No, I have to check that one out. She took it well.
Yeah, well, that's good.
She took it pretty well.
Yeah. So to start off, kind of icebreak a little bit. Icebreak. That was not on purpose.
Yeah.
But so I ask everyone I've talked to so far the same question, and people have had varying degrees of detail in their answers. And if you don't have an answer, that's totally cool too. But just real fast, do you have a favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle?
So that's a big question. I think as we age, we spend different periods of our life as every turtle. Sure. As a kid, as a little kid, I thought I was Michelangelo. Okay. I was pretty sure I was Michelangelo. And then, as you become an angsty teenager, you become more of a Raphael. Mm-hmm. And then at some point, Leonardo starts, as I age, Leonardo starts looking less dorky and nerdy.
Yeah.
He starts looking less oh, God, Leo. And I get it. His brothers were screwing around all the time and messing things up. And I had never, ever thought of myself or fancied myself a Donatello guy. But my son has always loved Donatello. That was always his favorite. And I'm also beginning to, see.
Oh, I lost it there for a second. Okay. Sorry, just a couple seconds. I missed you.
Yeah. Donatello was the only turtle that offered a truly unique set of skills to the team. They're all good at fighting and they're funny. Donatello was their tech, was their IT. Absolutely. So I think to say you have a favorite turtle, I think that's a little one-dimensional. I think there's a little bit of each turtle in all of us, depending on what stage we're at in our life.
Okay, I really like that answer. Yeah, I like that a lot. I've always personally been from the beginning a Leonardo fan. Because I've always
really?
As a kid, yeah.
Even as a kid, you were into Leonardo?
Yeah, just because he seems like the one who it's like you said, everyone else is there just kind of hanging out, eating pizza, watching TV, playing video games, smoking weed probably, and he's the one who's
the
hey, guys,
Ninja Turtle. The Ninja Turtles definitely smoke weed. The Ninja Turtles definitely smoke weed. They never show that, but for sure they do.
Yeah, dude, it's so totally implied. They're just sitting around in a sewer smoking weed all day.
Doing martial arts and eating pizza all day.
Yeah, dude. As an adult, I kind of do that.
Yeah.
I realized at some point I thought it was did I unintentionally or semi-intentionally turn myself into a Ninja Turtle? I don't know.
You need a layer, man. You got to build a layer underground.
It's funny you should say that. In my basement, I have what is called I call it the Battlecade. So there's jiu-jitsu mats in the basement. In the corner, there's a whole arcade set up.
That's cool.
And then in the other corner, I'm in a band as well. So there's band stuff in the other corner. So it looks pretty rad. And there's there's no regular lighting down there. It's all black light and stuff like that. So I kind of did that as well. So you're dead on the money.
Yeah, we might be kindred spirits because my garage used to be set up as an MMA gym. I have an X-Men vs Street Fighter cabinet in there, dude. And I used to play in a band. Actually, I played in a hardcore band in my early 20s. Yeah.
What do you play?
I was the lead singer and played the keys.
Oh, nice. Keys, nice, dude. Our band has been looking for a keyboard player for such a long time. It's so hard to find somebody who plays keys.
we were at the forefront of the adding the keyboard to the hardcore band. We were like,
Okay.
we were in the beginning when that first became a thing. We were putting 808 drums in hardcore songs at the breakdown and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, it was fun times. We were like a regional act. We were that band where if a national act was coming through in the genre, we would open for them.
Right.
And we could, and like we had a CD release at a venue that held, I think, maybe 400 people tops.
Okay.
And I think, excuse me, 200 people at a place called New Brooklyn Tavern, I think, was like we played small crowds, but they were rabid crowds. They were like throwing down, so I love playing in the band.
Can the audience find any of this music anywhere on
it's on my SoundCloud.
Okay.
SoundCloud / Icy Mike P has
Okay.
some of stuff from our full length album on there.
Nice, dude. Nice. That's awesome. I've already learned something new. I had no idea you were a musician. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I've done it. I've done like everything.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Yeah, dude. That's I'm glad you shared that. I'm gonna have to look up your music. So I have some questions prepared just to kind of help us along. So the first thing I thought about talking to you about. So I'll give you some background. My buddy and I I started doing like adult martial arts in the Bujinkan, and you may already see where this is going.
Yeah.
I kind of had the question about, well, not a question. I just wanted to hear your kind of thoughts years later about being on like StreetBeefs and kind of going up against a particular ninja and just, you got any thoughts about that? That was man, that was great. That was awesome. That was so cathartic to me.
So what's really funny about that scenario is I didn't understand. So everyone's the main character of their own story. When I think of my story, I'm the main character, and that's
Sure.
like a thing that happened in my story.
Right.
I didn't learn later that I was just a character in a whole other story and a saga and drama surrounding other people who are the main characters of different stories. And I didn't realize that what I was doing, that I was playing a role in something else that was already going on.
Right.
I thought that I was creating the thing that was happening. Like I thought I had a plan for jumpstarting my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I was going to be like the first dude in the history of the internet to talk shit online. And then when someone is like, fight me, bro, I would say, okay. And then do it. And I was going to that was my plan. I was like, man, internet's never seen that. No one's ever done that.
Yeah.
And then the very first time I tried it, it worked like a charm, but it was StreetBeefs versus Ninja Ron. And I thought, I just saw a guy online that looked like he didn't know what he's talking about. I talked some shit. He said, fight me. I said, okay. Then I later found out that there was a long, long history of drama and the thing called the Bujinkan and these ninjas and these ninja, I guess ninjas, like ninja practitioners, ninjas.
Yep.
They're not ninjas, but they do that ninja stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't know about any of that. I didn't know about any of that world. I had no clue what I was digging up when I did that.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, there's a lot there. Because I mean, after seeing, I forget how I got involved, like in that, I fell down that rabbit hole, but like, I somehow stumbled upon, like, it might have been him talking shit on somebody else even, and then I, eventually found the StreetBeefs thing. I was like, oh, okay.
There was a lot of that, man. That guy had a lot of enemies. He had a lot of people that he goes back and forth online with, and that was his thing. I didn't know that was his thing. I thought it was my thing. I was doing that. I was like, I'm gonna talk shit on the internet and start fights on the internet. I thought I was inventing that, and he was already out there doing that, and I was just a supporting character. I was just a cameo in that story.
Yeah, but also like in his story, like he talks some shit, and then someone who actually knows what they're doing showed up, and it was awesome. I really enjoyed that. I mean, I don't like watching people get their ass kicked, and be embarrassed, but like, he talks so much shit, man. And looking at his his talking shit, it's like, yeah, you had that one coming, bud. I mean, yeah, so I really enjoyed that. Just so you know, me and I'm sure there are a lot of other people really, really, really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it maybe wasn't the most informed choice, and it was risky to engage in that behavior. And if right now, if I did it all over and knew what I knew now, I probably would not do that. But if I had not done that, I might not be doing what I'm doing now. So you have to learn. Like I won't say I regret it, but I'll say it was like I got lucky that it worked out okay.
So speaking of like talking shit online and stuff, this is also a question I've asked pretty much everybody, because everyone I've talked to so far is like a martial arts person. Do you? In fact, I know that. Well, I don't know. I was told that this happens to you, that like people might show up, because of all the internet stuff, like show up, when you're actually training at your gym, and like, they're trying to like dojo storm you or whatever you want to call it, like showing up trying to get some. Does that happen often?
It used to happen quite a bit, and it was never a dojo storm. It was never like, I'm here to kick your ass because I don't think you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It always started as they would say they wanted to spar, or they wanted to drop in for sparring, or they wanted to train, or they wanted to come to class. And then during class, they asked, do you guys do any sparring? And hey, do you want to do some rounds after this?
Yeah.
And one of the big problems, I didn't really realize this early on. There are people, when you say, hey, I want to spar. Like if I just met you and I said, Jared, hey, do you want to spar?
Yeah.
And you were just like minding your own business. Yeah. You'd be like, as a martial artist, that question only means one of two things. One, hey, I think that we are peers, and I think that you hold some things of value, and I'd like to learn from you, and I'd like to move around with you and learn from you. And I think I have some things to show you. It'd be a collaborative, cooperative, constructive event. Or it means like, I think I could kick your ass, and I want to find out. Yeah. And those are the only two meanings for that question. Unfortunately, there are people who don't know that those are the only. They just think they see people sparring in videos, and maybe they're not like devoted practitioners of a martial art, and they think, hey, that looks like fun. I think I'd like to spar. And they don't realize that what they're saying. They don't realize that there actually is, even though it's sparring, it's not a fight, there is risk of injury. And people, I found out later, there's people that don't get that. So I might have beat a couple people's asses that didn't need their asses kicked necessarily. Because they would come in and they'd say, hey, I want to spar. And I'd be like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
And I erred on the side of caution. But there were quite a few where I knew what they were there for. They had some sort of issue or some sort of problem where they felt like if they beat me up, that they would feel better about themselves for whatever reason. And there are plenty of people that can beat me up. There's no shortage of that. But people that need to, people that want to, usually can't. Right. And the type of people that come in, and me and Ed Stahl from Metroline Martial Arts recently did a video on this topic. I don't know how much of what I said. I don't know how much of what I said he's going to publish. Okay. So I'll say it here. If you find yourself looking at someone online and being like, I think I could take that dude. Right? People that don't think that. Like, like Kamaru Usman, is not scrolling through Instagram and be like, I could beat that guy's ass. He doesn't think that way because he knows that he can. Even if the guy says something that he doesn't like, no part of him is like, I could totally beat that guy's ass. If you're secure and you think you know how to fight, you don't think that way. I don't think that way at all. I never look at a video and be like, I could beat that dude's ass. I don't care. So if you find yourself called to, if you find yourself feeling that way, you need to spin that lens around real quick, because that's a thing inside you. There's nothing out. There's no glory to be had out there in the gym in sparring. Yeah. And so if you feel like you want to fight somebody in a gym for no money, extreme sign of insecurity.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think the same kind of applies to people who just like fighting, like also in kind of non-gym scenarios where like people are just outside trying to fight people. It's like people who understand violence and like have trained a lot. Like, you know that it's already, like, you know, even in the best of circumstances with someone that you really like you said, there's a chance of injury.
Yeah.
And it can really suck even if it's that situation. So it's like, if I'm out in the street with somebody who is actually angry with me and, like, it's trying to hurt me for real, it's like, that's the last fucking thing I want to do, man. Like, I don't want to deal with any of that, anything like that, you know, just from the gym experience. So it's like, if someone's acting like that, to me, that's an indicator. It's like, either you have either you might know what you're doing and you might have like a mental thing going on, but like probably you don't know what you're doing. And you don't really understand what you're asking me to do. It's like, yeah, I'll show you, but you don't want that. I don't want that. None of us who know what we're doing want that.
The more I train, the less prepared I feel, the less confident I feel. Like the most dangerous dudes, and I think these are the dudes that I've run into problems with. It's guys who have like 2 years of MMA training. You know, guys, maybe they got maybe a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. Maybe they've even had an amateur fight or two, but they're in that stage where they're like, dude, and they're feeling powerful for the first time. They found out that they couldn't fight, because that's how to learn how to fight. You have to find out you don't know how.
Right.
And then they spent 2 years feeling pretty badass, and they can't beat up anyone in the gym that was there before them, but they can beat up everyone that got there after them. So they really are feeling themselves, and they don't realize that there's 7 billion people on the planet, and you could be having a bad day. You ever had an off day in the gym where like you get tired fast, you can't do anything right, you got 2 left feet.
Yep.
You don't know that that's not today for you. I mean, you get into a fight in a parking lot, or you try to dojo storm somebody and you think, yeah, today's the day. Might not be your day, man. And I agree with you. I think if you think that, then you're probably wrong.
100%. Absolutely. And so speaking of like outside situations, I'd love to pick your brain. So I've already talked to Ramsey Dewey about it, but man, it looked like so much fun to do the ultimate self-defense challenge. I'm like so jealous. I mean, I know that everybody had kind of mixed.
Did Ramsey say it was fun?
He said like the hanging out part was fun.
That part was fun. And none of that was fun. Nothing about it was. The zombie thing was fun.
Yeah.
The zombie thing was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But no, it was hard, man. And the videos don't do it justice how hard it was. Like, they glaze over the fact that the first 3 challenges were all on the same day.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
We did the bus fight, then we did the circle drill, then we did the hide and go stab, all on a Tuesday.
Jeez. And this is like, is this the same day you all arrived too?
No, they got there. Jeff and Ramsey got there the day before. They got there on Monday. Me and Seth got to Australia on the Friday before. Oh. And then we went sightseeing for 3 or 4 days.
Okay. Oh, that's cool.
Then
Nice. I had some notes, like, because it seemed like everyone sustained some degree of like damage.
Everyone except for Jeff Chan.
Okay.
Jeff Chan didn't, not a scratch on him.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I was whenever was it Ramsey who hit you in the thigh with the
kendo stick? Yeah.
The kendo stick. Yeah. Oh man, that like respect for telling them to keep going. They were like, no, that's enough.
Well, they took us to this thing. They're lucky they brought me, because they just screwed that up big time. They took us to the place. SMAI were one of the sponsors of the show, and they gave us all the gear and stuff like that. But we did a piece where we go there and they take us on a tour of the facility and show us all the equipment, and we get fitted for gear. And that SMAI sponsored the thing, not just because they thought it was cool and they said, hey, we want to make sure this happens. They want their stuff on there. So we go into this room full of weapons and full of gear, and everyone's just like, okay, cool, on to the next thing. And I was like, no. I started pulling shit off of walls. I started handing stuff to people, and I made sure that the sponsor got the plug that they need. I was like, you're going to get some content out of this.
Yeah.
But they kept acting like I couldn't. The Rokas and them, the USDC side, was acting like they didn't want me to do anything. But the SMAI people didn't have say anything. I was like, can I play with this? And they were like, yeah, you get whatever you want. And they were like, no. They didn't want me touching anything. They thought I was gonna break stuff, and I would have broke. Scare money don't make money. You know what I mean? We got to break some stuff and throw some stuff around, and maybe. But Rokas didn't want one of us to get hurt when we hadn't even started the challenges yet.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean that's. I would have done the same thing. It's like, listen, dudes, like they're giving us this stuff, out, as a promotion. So like, we should probably have some fun in here. Like, make this look like a fun store to come to, right? Like,
it was awesome in there. It was literally Disney World for martial arts stuff. Like, just stuff everywhere. Pads and weapons and everything. There was a bunch. Dude, I was in there for a while. They cut a lot of it out. I did stick myself with there was a comma, and I think I accidentally poked myself with that. But
well, you just gave him a fucking great little plug there. I'll clip it out and I'll send it to you. Like, it's the Disney World of martial arts equipment.
Yeah, they had everything, and they had fitness. They had a gym. The downstairs they had a gym, like power racks and medicine balls and weights and kettlebells and stuff like that.
Nice.
It was a good company, and they were nice to us.
Nice. Can you expand upon, talking about like the self-defense crew, I think everyone's favorite, martial arts YouTube bromance is, of course, you and Seth. Can you, how did you guys kind of like start, how did you guys find each other, if you will?
So he had just gone viral on Instagram for the bottle cap challenge. This was quite a few years ago. If you remember, there was a bottle cap challenge. Max Holloway did like a spin kick and kicked a bottle cap off of a bottle.
Okay.
Well, Seth started doing a bunch of videos where he was doing very elaborate trick shots, kicking these water bottles off the top of a bob. And he did some amazing stuff, but he had one of them that went super viral right after Max Holloway. It was like the second most viewed one. And he blew up on Instagram fast. Well, that's bad. For those of you who are like, how do I grow my social media following? Slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah.
Fast is bad. Viral growth equals viral death. It's like a firework. It goes, right. And then it's not sustainable. And it was hard to monetize that.
Sure.
So he decided he wanted to do YouTube and did the smartest thing in the world and skipped the line. He had 300 subscribers. And he just messaged me and said, hey, I want to come to your gym and shoot some YouTube videos and help you shoot some YouTube videos. And we make a bunch of videos. And I was like, okay. And I don't remember where I was. I think I was in the 100,000 or 200,000 range, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
And he just showed up. He drove down like in a day. We filmed a bunch of videos, and then he drove back home, and we didn't really know each other. But then he did it again the next month, and then I think again a couple months later, and then we had pretty good chemistry, and that was it.
Nice. I think that sounds like really solid advice for people who are trying to like do social media things, like trying to slowly grow your following with like real followers rather than like getting like 1 billion people who really don't give a fuck about you, like.
Exactly. That's actually bad for you, because say you have a piece of content go viral and a million people watch it and it does really well, but that's not normally what you do. Now, the next piece of content you put out, YouTube's going to try again, and they're going to put it in front of everybody, and they're going to be like, well, I'm not interested in this. So then the algorithm's going to look at that and say, okay, when we show people his stuff, look how many, we showed 1 million people his video and none of them clicked because they just were there for that first one.
Right.
And then it's like, well, after 1 million times, we're not showing this video to anyone else. So you got to make sure you find your audience.
Yeah.
Find your audience. Don't try to put yourself in front of the world. If you try to please everybody, you end up pleasing nobody,
Yeah.
But Seth actually is pretty good about his superpower is he's not afraid to ask people to do stuff with him.
Sure.
Like when he asked me to make videos with him. We made a bunch of videos. It worked out really well. And he just keeps like leapfrogging up. He went to LA and shot with Tony Jeffries and the Machida brothers and Hiram Gracie. And I was like, bro, how'd you swing that? He's like, I just DM'd him. And they said, okay. And I got on a plane and I was like, dang. It takes some balls, man.
Yeah. You say yes to stuff, like you were just saying earlier. It's like, if someone asks you to do some things, like, well, I got nothing else to do. I might as well get out there and
Yeah. And if you don't ask, you'll never find out.
Absolutely. I watched. This is a complete change of topic, but it like the one of your videos was really fun to me because as a kid, I honestly, even now, like walking through the store and like weaponizing all the items in the store. I used to think of it as like Home Aloneing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, it's such a great. I'm glad you made a video about that because I was like, oh, okay, I'm not just like a weirdo, crazy person. Like everyone, other people do this too.
We've made like 5 of those.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we've done.
Oh,
we used to. It's funny you said Home Alone because the gritty reboot of Home Alone is called Equalizer. I don't know if you've ever seen the Equalizer movies. They got
the Denzel ones.
Yeah.
I haven't watched them yet.
Oh man, that's what he does, especially in the first one. He works in like a hardware store, and he makes improvised weapons out of things, and and that's like the premise of the action. Okay. So we called it Equalizer, and the first couple ones, there's some on Seth's channel and some on my channel, where we have my son be the judge, where he finds a weapon, I find a weapon, and then we present the weapons and argue why they'd be a good weapon. Yeah. And some of that Seth is funny because he's real uncomfortable in public. Like he would be shy and nervous. He thought we were going to get in trouble. Right. And I'm whatever the opposite of that is.
Sure.
And
same.
Yeah. It's exactly the same thing. Denzel basically a murderous Kevin McAllister,
Dude, so after watching that, I actually had an idea for like if they wanted to do. I know that they already did like Macaulay Culkin did sort of like a YouTube short as adult Kevin McAllister.
Oh yeah, where he's an Uber driver.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I was thinking he's like you're in the right car.
But like that's cool, but I don't understand why they didn't just have him be like the manager of a store like that. Like maybe because I don't know if they came out before or after the Equalizer, but like that would be the perfect, like wouldn't Kevin McAllister end up being like, this general manager of like a home goods store, and then maybe
he definitely work in a hardware store.
Yeah, and then like maybe like the wet bandits show up and like try to rob his store and like how good would that be?
Man, oh man. The Home Alone movies are kind of dark, dude.
Home Alone super dark.
Everyone just glosses over the fact that this kid is home alone, that his parents were so awful that they just straight up forgot him. And then the wet bandits, like knowing that there's a kid in that house and still trying to go in there. Like, and he's straight up trying to murder them. Like he's setting them on fire and nails going into their feet.
Oh, and the second one, like, if it weren't a movie, like, they'd both be super dead like 20 times. I mean, especially like the bricks from the rooftop and the electricity and like all the like, oh my, just amazing. And
I've heard people joke that Kevin McAllister was the young Jigsaw killer, that he grew up to become Jigsaw.
I want to play a game.
Yeah.
And what you said earlier, like, I think that the movie kind of, in a subtle way, like some of the subtext is that the McAllisters are fucking terrible people. Because, like if you think about it, like from the beginning, that whole big party that they're having when all their families there,
they're all the worst.
They're all the fucking worst. They're all assholes. Like every single one of them is an asshole.
Yeah. The like, uncle is a jerk. His cousin that pees the bed.
His brother in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, but I think that the movie is trying to deliver that message at the beginning where they're like, the reason why this can even happen is because these people are just the worst. They're not really paying attention to their kids. They have too many kids, obviously. And they have this huge house that I don't know. It's just, I think that the movie does kind of cover that.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah. I have an interesting switch of, so you're a former police officer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm gonna put you into a category for me of some of the police that I actually do believe that are trying to help because, and you can, I mean this in the best way. I really appreciate that your significant other is a person of color. And so
Okay.
I feel like that's how, at least from the outside, it seems like, okay, like I'm not assuming
Maybe
that Mike,
not super racist.
yeah, well, I was saying like Mike, maybe Mike didn't get into policing because he was like beat up in high school or had like a chip on his shoulder or something like that. You know, it's like because I think that, or is, you know, like infiltrating as a racist, which we know like can and does happen in some police departments.
So so actually I did get beat up a lot in high school, and I did have a chip on my shoulder,
Okay.
and I was a tiny little guy that got bullied a lot. So
Yeah.
that probably contributed to me becoming a police officer.
Sure.
As far as here's what's funny, and I will talk about this. I don't like to talk too much about politics or race or religion.
Sure.
I don't like to talk too much about that, but I don't mind talking about my experiences.
Yeah.
And I will say this: being a police officer in an interracial relationship, I was policing in a place that was like 95% black.
Okay.
Like almost the entire community.
Yeah.
And so I have a kind of unique perspective. I do have a unique perspective on it. I got a very clinical, dispassionate view of what's actually happening.
Sure.
And what's funny is there was a guy, he got in trouble for saying some questionable things in the squad room. Like, he was a rookie, and he was filling out his report, and his sergeant was a black guy, Craig, good friend of mine. He passed away a couple of years ago. And he was filling out the report, and he goes, "Oh, I forgot to ask the hair and eye color." And he goes, "Them motherfuckers always got black hair and brown eyes." And Craig was like, "Them motherfuckers, like who's them motherfuckers?" And the kid, to his credit, he was like, "Black guys, like they probably have black hair, brown eyes." I was like, "It's a safe bet." I was like, "If we're playing statistics, it's a safe bet." But it's just the way you phrased it, you know?
Yeah, maybe don't say it like that.
Yeah, them motherfucker. And I was like, "You can't." But then
Also,
he said a couple. Go ahead.
So also, my uncle has green eyes, so like.
Yeah, it's possible. I get what he's saying. When you're filling out reports and you don't have details, that you want to put in as much information as you can, and you're trying to get a suspect description, that's not a bad place to start. But you also can just leave it blank. You know, you can leave it blank, and then the person interpreting it will be like, "Well, probably." You know, if it was a blonde-haired, green-eyed black guy, she definitely would have remembered that, and she would have told you. She'd have been like, "I remember he had piercing green eyes."
Right.
But anyway, he just said some questionable things. Well, it got worse. He got like more comfortable and was saying kind of crazy stuff. Now, I trained this guy. We rode around together for a couple weeks, and they were like, "Mike, did he ever?" I was like, "No, man." And I was like, he must can tell or something, because we literally drove around for weeks fighting black people. Like every night we were in a fight with a black person, and he never said anything. But then as soon as he got out of my car, he started saying a bunch of crazy, like racist stuff in front of our black coworkers. And I was like, do I just come across as super not racist? Which I guess is a good quality. I guess it's a good quality to have.
Yeah.
But then they were like, "Mike, surely you saw something." I was like, "I promise I didn't." And if he was ever going to say anything, I think it would have been when we were in the woods fighting with no one around, fighting some black dude who'd robbed somebody. And you'd think during that scenario, if it was going to come out of his mouth right then in the woods with no one around during a fight, would be when it comes out.
Sure.
And it didn't. And I didn't know police. I knew police officers that were racist. I knew police officers that were homophobic, which in the country in the South, like homophobia would be like the standard response. Like where I policed was very rural South, like homophobia would be like normal.
Right.
It's exceptional to not be homophobic.
Right.
So I worked with police officers who were racist. I worked with police officers who were homophobic. I worked with police officers with all kinds of biases, and people think that I'm just a bootlicker, and people think that I'm just, the cop is still in me. Right. I swear to you, I knew dudes that held pretty strong biases that never let it affect the work.
Okay.
And people are like, no, you just couldn't say. And I'm like, I promise you, we would leave a house, and if you heard the way, you'd be like, and I'd be like, whoa, dude, whoa. But then they'd go up to the house and be like, yes, sir, how can I help you? Okay, we'll get right on that. And they would do their job and take care of business and do what they were supposed to do. And I'm like, man, I couldn't be racist, man, because I couldn't. If I really felt that strongly about it, I would try to like use my position of power to exert my will.
Right.
I was like, these guys got some self-control, man.
Some acting skills.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. I saw it the first time I saw it. I was like, oh no. I was going to a call. It was a house guy. It was these two guys. They fought. They were a couple, but they fought all the time. They fought each other all the time.
Yeah.
And they were sending me over there with a certain officer who was very vocally anti-gay, like all the time. Yeah. And I was like, oh shit, I don't want to go over here with this guy. I was like, I said, I'll take care of it, man. I'm good. I know them guys. Don't worry about it. Yeah. When I got there, he was already there. He's already taken the statement. Yeah. And he talked them down, and one of them needed a ride. He gave one of them a ride, and then got back in his car, and he's like, I was like, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I only brought up the like the significant other being a person of color because one of my friends, Brian, not the same Brian I talked about Dragon Ball Z, but a different Brian. He's also a police officer, and he also has a significant other and children who are all people of color. So I knowing somebody who honestly, like, it seems like similar, like what you were saying, like just trying to do the job and just trying to do a good job. So I was curious to hear your thoughts on that kind of thing. Go. Sorry.
I'll tell you another phenomenon. So the thing about racism in policing is, it's like all things, is that there's vocal extremists. There's people who are like, all cops are bastards. They're all this and that, and they're all out to get you, and it's because of this and because of that. And there's people that think that they view the whole thing through that lens. Yeah. And then there's people who view it through the lens are like, none of that's true. No. There's no biases. There's no systemic racism. There's none of that. And I'm like, no. Idiots. Yeah. The truth is always where? In the middle there. Yeah. And I'll tell you, there's sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy about we're in a cycle where the people say the police are targeting our neighborhood because it's black, and the police will say, no, we're targeting your neighborhood because it's higher crime. Duh. Well, and then it's like, well, it's higher crime because of an immeasurably long history of things that created the problem is that there's no way to quantify it. And the people that don't know about the problem would like a quantified answer. Okay, like how much did it affect? What percentage? Right. What percentage were you knocked down because of where you live, and how much of that is not anything to do with you? And there's no way to quantify it. Yeah. So the truth is, like, it exists. But the thing about policing, this is a funny thing that happened to me on a weekly basis. I was accused of racism. Okay. I would say maybe even more than once a week. Yeah. I was a white cop in an all black area. Yeah. And they'd say things like, you only pulled me over because I'm black. And I'm like, bro, who am I supposed to, like, can I not work? Don't pull over any cars then, Yeah. And this happened a lot where I'd be driving, doing my job, which is like looking around, and I would see a guy, and the guy would just be certain that I was going to come mess with him. Like, he just sees the police and is like, oh, police always bothering me. This guy's going to come bother me. I'm just trying to mind my own business. And I'd be looking at him. Yeah. Well, I'm looking at him and he's looking at me. And then he starts acting weird. He's acting weird because he's pretty sure I'm going to come bother him. Yeah. So now I'm like looking at him harder. And then he's like, oh, crap, here he comes. And then does something weird, like throws his backpack in a bush and runs. And then you chase him and you catch him. He has no warrants. And then you find his backpack and there's nothing in it. And I'm like, why'd you do this? He's like, I knew you were going to come mess with me. I was like, you were behaving suspiciously. And there's like a cycle in that where I think you're going to mess with me, so I'm going to do things that make you mess with me. Yeah. And then the cops are like, he's doing something he's not supposed to be doing. And then when they try to explain, it doesn't make any sense. What's in the cop's brain doesn't make sense to the guy walking down the street. What's going on in the guy walking down the street's brain doesn't make any sense to the cop. He's like, if you didn't do anything wrong, why'd you run? And it's like, well, I ran because you were going to mess with me. Well, I messed with you because you ran. And then hopefully that ends in a peaceful detainment, but often that ends in a violent encounter or a fight where the guy running is pretty sure that he's about to get either in a lot of trouble, hurt really badly, or killed. Yeah. And the guy chasing is like, well, this is my job and I've got to catch this guy and then maybe fight him or kill him or myself get hurt or killed. And that was my experience. It was like no one really understanding the truth. Yeah. Which is always in the middle. Yeah. And both sides sort of just like blinders on. Like, I have a job to do. Like the cops are like, I got a job to do. And the guys that hate the police, all cops are bastards. And it's like, well, those two groups, they will forever be at war because there's no common ground. So that was my experience.
Okay, so in your experience, was that idea addressed like in the training where it's like, listen, you're gonna have people who are just gonna see you and run. Like, that doesn't mean that they did anything wrong. A lot of people are afraid of the police for good reason. Like, was that ever kind of like thrown out there in training?
Yes. Yes, not effectively. A police training is very, very ineffective. Okay. Policemen are hard to train, period. They're very difficult. They're very resistant to training. Yeah. And then they're hard to train. The job that you're training them for is difficult. And they're just not receptive to new information. So when the Supreme Court makes it clear that if you don't have any other reason to be suspicious, like if you're looking at me and I'm just standing there and I see you're a cop and I'm on the street, I look at you, I turn around, I run away, and you don't know anything else. Yeah. You're not looking for a guy. They didn't say, hey, there's a short little bald guy with glasses on and a red beard in this area that just robbed a store, and then I see you and run, right? Not that, which I'm going to come back to that scenario. I'll explain that. That's something else I think is worth talking about since we're on the subject. Yeah. If you don't have that and I just run and that's the only information you have, no other suspicious activity, that does not rise to the level of reasonable suspicion where you could detain me. Sure. Legally. So you tell cops that. They're like, well, if he's not doing anything suspicious other than running, you shouldn't detain him. Right. And the first thing you think is, well, running is suspicious. And it's like, yeah, okay. But if he's not doing anything wrong, why is he running? I'm like, okay, that's neither here nor there. The Supreme Court was pretty clear. Yeah. And they just don't get it. Well, then what they'll do, that the idiot ones, the ones that are honest idiots, will just not get it and keep doing it. Yeah. And then the dishonest and the even worse idiots will use the catch-all, well, you match the description of a suspect I'm looking for in this area. Yeah. Which the first time I heard that, I cracked up because I used to hear that growing up all the time because I ran my neighborhood all the time. We get stopped by the cops constantly. Mm-hmm. Constantly. We were stopped by the cops for walking down the street every night. And they always said, you match the description of someone in the area that's been breaking into houses. And then I realized when I got into policing that was just a thing that they said. So I would go, okay. And like chill out and say, oh, they have a good reason to be stopping me and questioning me. Yeah. But the police are super hard to train. You try to explain it to them. Same with recording, like video recording them. We would tell them like every couple of months, people can videotape you. Yeah. And they'd be like, well, what about if I'm in the courthouse? People can videotape you. What if I'm on a traffic stop? People can videotape you. What if I'm in the gas station? People can video. And they always thought, well, he can't videotape me if it's an active crime scene. Nope, they can videotape you. Well, you can't videotape me if someone's giving me a statement. Nope, they can videotape you. It's just they can videotape you. Yeah. Someone could be shooting missiles at you. Yeah. And videotaping you. Yeah. And then videotaping you is okay. Well, they'll go to jail for shooting missiles at you. But they're allowed to videotape you while they're doing it.
Well, I'm glad you said that because I was always kind of a little bit hazy and unclear on like what the legalities of taping people are. I assumed it's like having your phone or whatever and having a camera.
You can videotape the police. You can videotape them all day long, everywhere, all the time, while they're on duty, and you can videotape anyone that's in public. You have no expectation of privacy.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. So, but you try to teach them this stuff, and they just didn't want to listen. They were very resistant.
Yeah.
But the other side, where I was like, well, what about, you say, are we addressing it with police training? And I've always thought, why don't in middle school or high school or somewhere along the way, they just tell people how to deal with the police? Like, why don't they just tell kids what they should do when the police talk to them?
Yeah.
Because the example that I was using earlier of, like, if I do fit the description, say you're a police officer, you're sent to a gas station, there's a robbery at a gas station.
Yeah.
And they say, hey, a short white guy with a red beard, glasses, he's bald, he just robbed the gas station, and you're in the area, right?
Yeah.
And then, so you get the call, and then you drive over there. And while you're driving over there, you see me walking in the area. You can legally detain me at gunpoint. You could jump out of the car and point a gun at me and scream, get on the ground. And that's legally justified.
Right.
And I didn't do it. But you have enough information that the level of proof that you need in order to effect that detainment has been met. Right. I don't know that, though. That's where, on the public side, where they get into trouble, is it's possible, people can't wrap their brains around. It's possible to be detained or even arrested when you didn't commit a crime.
Right.
And that detainment or arrest can still be legal, because if all the facts add up enough to where it's like, hey, a guy that looks just like that is a couple blocks away 3 minutes after the robbery, stop that guy. Yeah. But if I'm the guy and I don't know anything about the robbery, I'm gonna be like, why are you doing this? I didn't do anything. Yeah. And then we get into the death spiral sometimes. Yeah. Yeah. But there's also ones, the current crop of refusing to get out of the car and refusing to do anything until a supervisor gets there. Yeah. Like, those are just things that it's like people saying, you never read me my rights. There's just these things that people think are their rights that they're just not. They're like, the cops aren't legally required to read you Miranda rights. Yeah. If the Supreme Court decided, if on a traffic stop, a cop tells you to get out of the car, you have to get out of the car. There's no rule that says you get to see a supervisor before you're arrested. Like, if I say you're under arrest and you say, I want to see a supervisor. Yeah. People have gone on these like mantras. I want to see a supervisor. I'm not getting out of the car, and people see that on TikTok or Instagram. They'll see these Instagram reels, which conveniently cut off right before your hero who's like trolling the cops. Right before, they never say what happened. They never say, they dragged him out of the car and arrested him, and it was a lawful arrest because he had 6 million pounds of drugs and 4 dead bodies in his car. We just see the video where he's like, I want to see a supervisor. And they're like, yeah, stick it to the man. Yeah. So, there's a lot of, like, cops, super hard to train. People get bad information from their friends and family about how to deal with the police. The truth is, you should just be still, be calm, keep your mouth shut. Be still, be calm, keep your mouth shut. If the police order you to do something that you don't think is right, usually statistically, you're wrong. They know about something you don't know about. But even if they are wrong, you can't win against them. Even if they're trying to set you up, that's what's sad. Even if you're dead on, you weren't doing anything. This guy just doesn't like you. He's trying to set you up. He can, if you let him. Yeah. He can. He has on the side of the road at 2:00 in the morning. The guy with the gun and the badge will eventually win. He will win. You might get him. You might get his next buddy, but the radio and the backup is coming. You can't win. You can't win a fight. You can't win an argument, let alone a fight. Yeah. So just be calm, be still, keep your mouth shut. Don't say anything. Don't talk to the police. And then fight it later. Yeah. But people don't know that.
Yeah. Well, also, fighting it later is like, how much money you have.
Yeah. Well, so and there's that. That's true too. Like if you have to fight a legal battle in court, like say the police do something wrong to you and you're suing them. If you've got a good case, I think most lawyers would be like, yeah, we got this. We got this because we're going to get money out of them.
Sure.
If it's a criminal charge that you're trying to beat, that can get expensive. But there's zero things you can do the night of your police encounter. Zero. There's zero things you can do to make it better. You can't say anything that's going to make the cop go, oh, you're good, man. My bad.
Yeah. Oh, actually, you know what? That actually did happen to me one time.
Okay. Wait, Jared.
Sorry.
Wait, Jared, be careful.
Continue.
What you're about to describe is an exception.
Yes,
where you talked yourself out of a ticket or out of something, Go
actually,
ahead.
not. So you can. So what had happened was, I was having a party at my house. I'm in my own house. I'm inside the house the whole time. People from the party had left. It's like a Halloween party, so people are dressed up and they have all kinds of costumes and shit. So there are the people remaining in my house after everyone has gone home are myself, the person I was dating at the time, my roommate, and like one of my buddies who was on the couch. And somehow someone outside had gotten into some kind of altercation with one of the neighbors, or not an altercation, but like an argument or whatever. Yeah. And I don't know if they had a prop Halloween gun or if they didn't have a gun at all, but somebody said somebody had a gun. So the police show up while we are all inside all the people in my house are sleeping. We're dead asleep. Yeah. I'm sorry, my buddy is he's just gone outside to smoke a cigarette or something like that, so like the sliding door on the side was open. And so these a legion of police show up like at my house. Yeah. Saying that we're looking for some dude with a gun. And I'm in my room, in my bed, dead asleep and drunk, because it was a party at my house. Why wouldn't I be? And so
you wake up into this. This is a lot going on at once.
Oh, dude, just wait. All right, so I wake up to wham, 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 wham on my like pocket sliding bedroom door. Yeah. Not the outside door. They're like
in the house. In the house.
Yeah. So what I wake up to is just people, and no one said anything. It's just wham, wham, wham on this door, and. So I have set all sorts of bladed weapons in here. Because I'm a maniac, and so I take one of my swords and I just slowly there's a little gap in the door because it's a sliding door. I slid it through. I was like, I don't know who's still in my house, but you're getting the fuck out of here right now because the party is over. Everyone has gone home. Get out of here. And so I hear Pittsburgh police, put the weapon down, and I'm like, what? Again, I'm like, I just woke up.
You almost died, homie.
No, I know. Again, I just woke up. I'm like, I was from a dead sleep, and I'm still drunk from my own party. And so, I like slowly opened the door. I unlocked it, opened the door. I'm like, and I put the weapon. I'm like, I'm in my underwear and like probably a robe. And I'm like, what is happening? And there's like 7 cops pointing guns at me. I'm like, all right, and they didn't shoot me obviously, but. They fucking put everybody in handcuffs. I'm sorry, they put me in handcuffs, and everybody else was just sort of awoken and whatever. And so after searching my house for this person who had a gun, no one matched the description. I don't know, 10-15 minutes. They're like, well, we're all sorry about that, and you guys have a nice night. So like, I pulled a sword on the police. And I didn't go to jail.
No, you're good.
And nothing happened. But
you didn't talk your way out of it.
No. I couldn't have. I could not have. I it might have been good that I was too drunk to even, because I was still in there enough where I was like, I can't talk about. I don't have the social skills right now to reason with this. So I'm just sit here and just wait. And so your advice obviously is sound. It's like I just okay, whatever, man. You can go ahead and what I didn't say that they could do that.
Someone else did. Whoever let him in the front door did.
I don't think my buddy let them in. I think they just like the door was open. They just came in. Anyway, so that's the one exception I can think of where they showed up. I got put in handcuffs.
No. That happened. That's happened to me. That almost a similar scenario happened to me once where we were looking for a party. We were lost. We were in a convoy of 4 cars, so we pulled over trying to figure it out. This was before smartphones and stuff.
Yeah.
And a buddy of mine jumped out and he stole they were selling pumpkins because it was near Halloween.
Yeah.
And he stole a pumpkin and threw it in one of the other cars.
Yeah.
Well, then the police department summoned a posse and they cornered all of us. They followed us around for a while and then cornered all of us and did a felony stop. And they pulled me out of the car. They were like pulling me out of the car. My seatbelt was on.
Yeah.
And one of them had a gun to my head, and the other one was telling me don't move, and then someone was telling me to unbuckle my seatbelt, and I was like, I'm about to die, because they were all yelling different shit.
Right.
But no, my point was more that if you feel that there is a problem, not that it can't improve, if you feel that there's a problem with something the police are doing, there's nothing you can do that's going to change their minds about what they're doing.
Sure.
You can't talk them out of it. You can't talk your way out of a ticket. You can't explain to them how they're wrong.
Yeah.
Like there's zero room for a police officer to be on a call, like listening to you, maybe writing you a ticket or arresting you or whatever. And you say, you're wrong. And him go, you know what? You're right. That's never happened. It's never, ever happened.
Yeah.
Most likely they're going to make whatever charge they make and then figure it out later and either drop the charges or you'll be found not guilty or whatever.
Yeah.
But you can improve it physically or verbally. Just be still, be quiet, keep your mouth shut, put the sword down. You know? Even if they're wrong. And that's probably, and that speaks to what we were talking about earlier about martial artists in public, like wanting to, getting into a fight with somebody. People will be like, I'm right. I'm right about this. This is wrong what they're doing, and I'm right. It's like, all right, man. The bullets don't care. The bullets do not care. Fists don't care. Knives don't care. Bullets don't care. Who's right?
Yeah, for sure. So on the same time, have you ever watched the YouTuber That Dang Dad?
No.
That's something that you might find interesting. He's also a former police officer, and now he's sort of on like the completely dissolve the police tip. Like he's totally like. He's always talking about stuff he's personally experienced and stuff, and like good like lengthy explanations as to like why there are these problems and stuff. It's pretty interesting. I don't know if you've if for the audience too, if you haven't checked it out, That Dang Dad, really interesting YouTube channel for sure. Dude,
ex-cops can tell you what's wrong with policing better than the people that hate cops. Like the people that just blanket hate, the people that hate cops, it's functionally no different than the prejudice that they're sometimes projecting onto the police officers. They're saying like all police are blank.
Right.
And it's like, well, you can think that, and you're free to think that. You're free to think that, but in the vein of trying to figure out the solution to problems, you won't get anywhere like that.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
That Dang Dad, I'll have to check that guy out.
Yeah. Great videos, really great videos.
I wanted to do a YouTube channel where I set up a car, I cover it in like cameras and microphones and stuff like that, and go around just trolling the police. Like I want to go a step above. I want to go beyond the like First Amendment auditors, like those guys that just go be weird in public and see if the police will mess with them. Yeah. Which they do, idiots. And they'll stand outside a courthouse with a camera and just point at the courthouse. And sure enough, some stupid ass cop will waddle out there and be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And the guy's like, "Here we go." And I know why cops do it. I know the reasons why. It's not all sinister.
Sure.
But I wanted to troll. I wanted to actively like troll cops, like, and use my insider knowledge to psychologically manipulate them into like losing their minds and then post it.
Oh yeah. I mean, hey man, if you're gonna do that, I would totally watch that.
Cop, and he was a career criminal.
I missed the beginning of that sentence. It just go. Sorry.
I had a buddy who was a career criminal, and I was a cop, and I wanted to do the channel with him. Like like because he would love it, and I would be able to tell him exactly like you can say this but not this, say this but not that, do this but don't do this, and make these guys jump through hoops. But then I thought, man, the potential for danger is great. Yeah. The potential for legal trouble is great. And at the end of the day, I'm torturing a human being for amusement. Yeah. So I scrapped the idea. I was just too scared to do it.
Yeah. When you say it like that, that's fair. It's like, intentionally putting someone in an uncomfortable situation to prove a point is like kind of not cool.
A human being in extreme duress. That's the thing people don't realize. The cop, man, he's stressed out. It's the most stressful time of your life. It is pretty stressful for him, and he's been doing it all night and has got to do it all night. Yeah. Last night and tomorrow night. Yeah. But
he or she or they.
Yeah, whatever.
I'm just trying to try to be inclusive. Everybody watches the channel,
When I said not all the reasons for their behavior is sinister, I would get chewed out a lot because I would mind my own business. If people weren't breaking the law, I wouldn't do anything. Yeah. But here's the phenomenon in policing. Someone calls the police about some behavior and someone else that they don't like. That is not criminal. Right. Like he has a flag in his yard that I don't like, or he yelled at my kids, or he's loitering, or he's walking down the street and I don't think he lives in this neighborhood. And people will make these calls and they're not criminal in nature. That's the majority of police calls. The vast majority of the calls that are made to police are not crimes. Right. And the police aren't actually empowered or supposed to do anything about that problem. Sure. So you see a person that doesn't look like he belongs in your neighborhood, walking through your neighborhood, you call me, I drive by, I see a person walking through the neighborhood. I don't even think that I should even drive over there. If the person on the phone doesn't tell me anything, any evidence of a crime, he's gone up to more than one house and looked in the window. Okay, now you're telling me stuff that sounds like a suspicion. I could at least go ask a guy, hey, I heard you were looking through some windows, man. And he'll say, no, I wasn't. And I'll say, okay, bye. Right. I defaulted to freedom I defaulted to civil rights. Like I defaulted to that. Most cops in their brain, they default to trying to circumvent that. Yeah. So instead of trying to think of trying to think of a reason to detain someone, I would think of reasons why I should not. Right. I'd be like, it's not appropriate. It's not correct. He's not doing anything wrong. If I stop him now and talk to him and he tells me to go fuck myself, I'm going to look like an idiot. So I didn't ever want to do that. So if I didn't have anything on you, I never put my hands on you. Yeah. I knew cops that would grab people first and then figure out what the justification was on the way to jail. Yeah. And, dude, if a guy's minding his own business, but he's just weird, you're not supposed to do anything with him. Sure. So if I was going to come talk to you and you could tell me to go fuck myself and I would have to, I wouldn't come talk to you. The problem was I would get in trouble with my supervisors for not doing anything. What they would prefer the police do is go talk to the person, suggest they should leave, or, make, blah, 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 or kind of hopefully prey on the person's ignorance, because chances are the person will think that if the police come up to them and they're like, hey, you got to get out of this neighborhood, that they'll be like, okay, I better get out of this neighborhood. That's what a lot of people do. Just like college kids letting the cops into their parties. Yeah, the cops busted our party. Well, you let them in, and then they told everyone to get out, and then first of all, you let them in, and then everyone got out when they told them to. They actually had no authority to do any of that. Right. They just the cops will take as much freedom from you as you want to give to them.
Like vampires.
Yeah, you have to invite them in, and I'll see people get cases put on them from searches they consented to. Yeah. I never ever made a case on a consent search. I didn't do consent searches. I didn't even ask for consent. I knew cops who were pretty sure they didn't need it, but would ask anyway because they wasn't sure, because they weren't sure. I was so good at my job that I was sure. I didn't need your consent. Yeah. If I need your consent, I'm a schmuck. I made my case. I made my cases the right way because I didn't want to be put in positions where my cases could be called into question, So people will let the cops tell them what to do when the cops actually can't. So as a cop, you're constantly told by your supervisors to handle it. Like if you get a call for a disturbance, husband and wife arguing, and you get there and they're like, we were arguing. And you have to try to make the husband leave. You have to try to make him think that he has to leave. Yeah. When he doesn't, because they think, well, if you leave and then he kills her or she kills him, we're in trouble. First of all, we're not. like legally speaking, we're not. There was no evidence of a crime. They didn't commit a crime. I can't make anyone leave.
Right.
But they'd want you to try. So these cops feel this like impetus to like try to control and handle situations they actually don't have the legal authority to control or handle. Because if they don't, they go back and get chewed out for not doing anything.
Yeah.
But I always told my supervisors, dude, the Bill of Rights is way more powerful than your little write-up slips. So write me up, bitch. I'm not doing it.
Something you said earlier caught my attention. You said like you used to run your neighborhood, and like you like when your buddies is like a career criminal, which is funny because like several of the police officers that I know are like almost exactly, they have similar stories where it's like I used to be like fucking around and then I became a police officer. Is that common in your experience?
It's the same skill set. The skill set to be a cop and the skill set to be a criminal is the same skills.
Yeah. I've always thought that, but I'm glad you said it.
Yeah. One's, it just depends on your alignment. It's the same skill set. Cruising around a neighborhood, looking for people committing crimes is the same skill set as cruising around a neighborhood, looking for crimes to commit. I'm actually just trying to figure out what crimes I would commit in this neighborhood. And then if you're looking for a stolen car, you try to think where you would take a car if you stole it. And then you go look in those areas. And then you find the car. If you're chasing a dude through the woods and you lose sight of him, you think, I would go this way. Nope, it's too obvious. I bet he went that way. And then you chase him and you find him. So it's the same skills, man.
It's like playing freeze tag or something, or like a hide and go seek or something. It's like where you're like trying to figure out what the psychology of the person you're trying to find would do. That's interesting.
Yeah. Oh, it is hide and seek. It's hide and seek all night long. Some cops and some criminals enjoy it. Some cops and crooks, it's like a Tom and Jerry thing.
Right.
There are guys that would run from us and fight with us just for the lulz, just for fun. There was this guy in Santee, one-legged Roy. He lost his leg running from the police and fighting with the police, and never stopped running from the police and fighting the police. And if you were a new cop, they would like let him whoop new cops' asses because it's the old one-legged Roy, and he would like wear a new cop out fast because he knew how to fight. And he'd been fighting the cops his whole life. He wasn't scared. He wasn't nervous, and he wasn't worried about getting in trouble. He didn't care about his rap sheet. And it was the type of community where if you just get drunk and run from and fight the police once a week, and you got all these cases pending, they'll bond you out if you keep showing up to court. Because like you'll just, oh, that's just Roy. That's just what he does. You think like, why isn't this person in prison if this is all he does? He's harmless.
Right. It's like he beat Jim up a little bit the other day, but Jim
just a little bit. Anyway. Yeah, he just beat him up a little bit.
Yeah, Jim should have known better than to fuck with one-legged Roy. That was stupid of him. That's funny. Okay, so one last question. We're eclipsing the hour or so. I feel like that's kind of the audience's attention span. But one last question. What is your nerdiest subject, if you have one, like other than martial arts? Is there something else that you're like super duper I could beat anybody at this subject, like in kind of knowledge nerdiness? Do you have something like that?
So that's kind of it is martial arts. Now I'm doing that, but there's been other things in my life that I was oddly knowledgeable about. It's within martial arts, like the front kick. Front kick, I'm like a super nerd about it. I don't think anyone does it right, and I know all these details that don't matter much. Like your kick might be like 97% good, but I'm the only person on the planet that knows the last 3%. Outside of martial arts, I've been into lots of things. I was into fighting games. I was into
nice.
I played Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and
dude.
X-Men vs. Street Fighter. I was big into those. I was a Dungeons and Dragons kid.
Okay.
I had the monster manual memorized.
Nice.
I've nerded out over quite a few things in my life.
Awesome. Dude, so if you're ever up north towards me in Pittsburgh, you got to come over. We'll play some. So I have a Multicade. One of the machines in the basement is a Multicade machine, and it has like 20,000 games on it.
Oh, man, that's awesome. I've actually been to... hold on a second.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. There's
Okay.
a guy with a digital. There's a guy with a tablet knocking on my door,
Okay.
trying to probably sell me a fucking roof or something.
Oh yeah.
I've actually been to yours in Stout,
Oh really?
Stout PGH in Pittsburgh, right?
Oh yeah.
I've been there.
Oh cool.
I was there for the Sanchez seminar.
Oh yeah. That was like not that long ago. Okay.
Yeah, no, I was there for the Sanchez seminar. In fact, there's a funny story about Stout. I was having, I think, a mild panic attack, and I was about to leave.
Yeah.
Because there's this thing that happens when I go. That was the other reason when you told me what gym you were from, why I felt like, okay, I should do this because I should tell them about this.
Yeah.
I have this issue when I go to a gym. It's like kind of a brag, but when I go to MMA gyms, like people know who I am.
Sure, of course.
Right? They're not like lining up like to fan, but people look at me and people know who I am, or they're looking at me going, that guy looks familiar, but he doesn't train here.
Yeah.
And the stares that people get, people aren't aware of what their face is doing. I think I know that dude. Who is that dude? It's the same, like, who the fuck is this guy face? Like, it's the same face. People make the same face, and I can't always differentiate. And I had a bit of, it's funny, my son was with me. Me and my son were there. And he said, Dad, I feel weird in here, man. I'm having flashbacks too. And he said the name of a gym that we used to train at, where we both kind of had bad experiences at another gym. And I was like, yeah, son, this place does feel like that, man. And he's like, he said, everybody's staring at you, Dad. And I said, yeah. And I started kind of freaking out. And I was like, and I started making up, I started telling Maddox, I said, yeah, I don't feel good, man. I kind of feel sick. Yeah. I don't feel good. And he was like, well, weren't you feeling bad yesterday? And I was like, yes, son. I said, I don't feel so good. And he's 14 and he only kind of cares about martial arts. So he would have gladly fucked off. And I was like, yeah. And I started packing up my stuff, and I was like, putting my stuff in my bag. I was like, I'm going to go. I'm going to tell Maddox I'm sick. Yeah. I'm going to, I'm just going to get out of here. Cause I was freaking out, and like everybody in there was staring daggers at me. And I was like, all these people hate me. All these people don't like something I've said. And I'm like freaking out. And a guy named Tim, short black guy, Tim, he just fought a couple months ago, I think.
Okay.
Super nice guy, walked up to me and he goes, hey, you're Mike. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh man, I love your videos. And I was like, and I'm still like in the mode, like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. And I'm like, thanks, man. And he's just talking to me, and I calmed down. And then gradually, like 3 or 4 more people that were kind of in the same area as him, they all then came over and just spoke to me. And I was like, and I didn't let on to anyone that I was having a pretty severe issue. Like I was like, I want to leave. Like I wanted to cry. I wanted to cry and just walk out of the gym. I was like, and if someone's never been through that, they're like, what the fuck is the problem? But like, if you've been there, you know, like it doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to make sense. And I was like, and right then Tim and some of the other guys from your gym came over and spoke to me, and I was like, okay. And I took my stuff back out of my bag. I did the seminar. I had a great time, but I was about to walk out, and we drove from Cleveland to get there too.
Okay.
We drove. I taught a seminar on Cleveland the day before.
Oh, nice.
And then we went to the Sanchez seminar. I rented a car and drove over to Pittsburgh, which is an awesome city.
Oh, hell yeah.
Dude, I think Pittsburgh, everyone says that they think Gotham City is New York. I think Pittsburgh is Gotham City.
Absolutely.
Because I look at the geography, man. We went up on the hill where you can like look down at the city, and I was like, how does this city have everything? How does it have like a city and country and mountains and rivers and a lake and tunnels and everything? It's like a GTA city or like a comic book city. Like, I'm like, is there a desert on the other side of that mountain?
There's like one area that's always snowing.
Yeah, there's snow in a rainforest.
No, I'm happy to hear you say that, because like I think people like, because Pittsburgh, the name is like doesn't sound like a great place, but actually...
Pittsburgh sounds like a crappy place.
Yeah.
But no, the city was awesome. We were there on it was a holiday. It was a holiday when Sanchai was there.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what holiday, like Labor Day or something like that.
Yeah.
And the streets were empty. So me and my son just drove all of Pittsburgh. Like there was no traffic. We were driving downtown. It was like I Am Legend. Like the streets were just empty.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. I drove all the way around the city, drove through the city, drove through this big cemetery. We went downtown. Nothing was open, but I really did enjoy it.
Nice. So you got the geographical like experience rather than like the kind of social bouncing around to like stuff.
I took a safari there. Yeah, I didn't get the culture. I didn't get any culture from Pittsburgh, but I took in all the geography. We drove probably for 4 hours.
Nice.
I just did like this throughout the city because the streets were empty.
Nice. So when you came in, so you came from Cleveland. Did you come? You didn't come through the tunnel then, like the
no. I went. I did no, but I saw the tunnel, so we drove through the tunnel and then came back through the tunnel. So I came out of the tunnel and saw the city. I saw that site because I was like looking stuff up on my phone to do because everything was closed. Yeah. And I did that because someone said you gotta see the city coming out of that tunnel.
Oh yeah. I try to if I'm like for some reason driving with somebody who hasn't yet been to the city and we're coming in that direction.
You go that way.
Oh well, yeah. I also try to like cue up some like epic music to like time it. It's like as soon as it. So like a great one is I'm not sure if you know the theme song to Deep Space Nine, Star Trek.
No.
But it's like the perfect. As soon as you come out of the tunnel, it's like amazing.
Doing your part to put your city on.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. You have to, right? But I'm glad you had a great experience here. And if you ever come up again, man, just like let me know, and like I can show you all the fun things. Yeah. Have some delicious food. There's so much good food here. It's really unfortunate that there was a weekend or a holiday.
Everything was closed, man. We ate at Burger King, dude.
Oh. Just do me a favor. Okay, I know this is like people are probably getting around here not going to appreciate this, but don't go to Primanti Brothers unless you're like drunk, because it's like that's really what it's for. It's like it's a drunk food. It's people always talk about, oh, they put the fries in the sandwich. It's like, yeah,
everybody puts fries in the sandwich.
Yeah, that's fine. But the key though is that some of the original locations are open really late. So once you're like after doing some stuff, if you're messed up, then you can it's like the most delicious.
It's like Waffle House here for us.
Oh yeah. We have some of those. Yeah. Why is every Waffle House like it's as soon as you walk in there, it feels like everything is tinted yellow. It's just like a yellow haze, like you stepped into the 70s for some reason.
Yeah, it's the bulbs, man. I think they still use incandescent bulbs in there, and they don't. It's like part of it, like when the little screen over the bulb starts to turn yellow and it's not clear anymore. I bet they're like, hey, we need to replace that, and they're like, no, we've got it. It's perfect. It's the perfect amount of yellow right now. They're like, it'll look brighter in here if we change the lights out. We're not going for that.
No, it's Waffle House yellow, man. That's what we're going for.
Yeah.
Oh man, well, I feel that was a lot of fun. I really appreciate you taking the time and talking.
Thanks, man.
Hopefully you had fun, and I'd love to have you on again. In the future if you want to come back and bullshit some more.
Love to.
Cool. And if I'm ever down your direction or you're up here, let me know and we can train together and like. We can not try to kill each other, because we're not dojo storming each other. I'm gonna come dojo storm you. I'm gonna set up a camera in my gym bag and jump you. All right, bring it on, motherfucker! I got you. Well, no, but yeah, seriously, it would be cool to train. But again, thanks for coming by. Can you tell people where to what you're working on, where to find you, and all that kind of stuff? Plug whatever you want.
Yeah, so my YouTube channel is Hard to Hurt. And I'm everywhere, every social media platform /Icy Mike P.
Cool. Check out Mike's stuff, everybody. And thanks for stopping by. Do all the liking and the subscribing and things like that. And we'll see you next time.